Arsenal have started their Champions League campaign by scraping a point from Atalanta. It was a David Raya's masterclass goalkeeping. With one of the best defense in Europe, the outfield players for Mikel Arteta's team are just not clicking. Without a proper number 8 and in the absence of Martin Odegaard, the killer passes are just not happening in the final third for Arsenal. Let's break down the game and look into how it happened. So welcome to Football Pundit, and without any further ado, let's get started. Now, even though this was a difficult game for Arsenal, we were expecting a better performance. With a couple of changes being made, Declan Rice and Partey both starting as a double pivot, Kai Havertz was brought back into midfield to play as a number 8, and Gabriel Jesus starting in front. Saka, Martinelli, both of them were hugging the touchlines to provide the width for Arsenal. We all thought that this might click for Arsenal, they might be able to dominate the game, but eventually that was not the case. Arsenal did try to sit back and hit them on the counter, but it was just not happening for Arsenal. There was no passage of play or no passes that were going through in the final third. There were a lot of missed passes from either Declan Rice, either Partey, either Martinelli missing out on the ball. It was that time that I personally felt that how much we miss Martin Odegaard and how much do we need a proper number 8 or a number 10 in our team as a backup. With Merino out and Odegaard out for potentially till November or maybe even more than that, the team just doesn't look to be clicking. At least the outfield players, they really depend on Martin Odegaard to provide them that killer pass or make that space for one or the other players to go and make that run where Martin Odegaard will find them. But that was just not happening. With Arsenal having loaned out Fabio Vieira, sold Emil Smith-Rowe, and the other two are injured, it just looks very difficult. And we have been seeing signs of this. In the couple of games that Arsenal played in the Premier League, we know that we have scraped the win in some way or the other. With the game against Tottenham, even though we were good, we were trying to play well in the transition, it was our defenders who came to our rescue, with Gabriel Magalhaes scoring the header and giving us the winner. It was not that we dominated with the ball, it was still a difficult away game, but still we were not clicking in that game. And in the game against Atalanta, it came a full circle where we saw how weak we look in the final third. We were not able to even provide one or the other killer passes to at least threaten Atalanta's goalkeeper. We really need to talk about Martinelli as well. For me, it has been close to 17 to 18 odd games that he hasn't scored. Now, there are a couple of things that normally you will expect from a winger. I really rate Martinelli very highly, but for the past season and this season that he has started most of the game for us, he's just not happening for us. For a winger, normally you will expect him to shoot the ball well, provide a cross and dribble past a couple of players if needed. Now, with the whole philosophy of Mikel Arteta trying to invert, maybe dribbling is not the key here, but he's not able to provide any of the killer passes that are required. He doesn't put in good crosses, and there were a couple of chances that fell for Arsenal in the Atalanta's game, which might have just got us over the line, and it went to Martinelli, and he scuffed both of those shots, which are a sign of a player very low in confidence. I think it's high time that we start either starting Sterling over the left flank or we play Trossard there. Martinelli, we should be bringing him just from the bench as of for now, until he starts putting in the shift that is required again. There is no problem with him running, tracking back and these sort of things, but when it comes to the main thing in terms of what he does in front of the goal, it's just not happening for him. Gabriel Jesus, as much as I rate him, he is not the prolific striker that we need. Even at times, the way he tries to dribble past players ends up losing the ball, and Arsenal end up in a counter-attack situation where they have to defend. I think in this season it is Arsenal's defense and the brilliance of David Raya that has kept Arsenal in the Premier League campaign and in the Champions League campaign. Within the Champions League campaign, they coming back with a point from Atalanta. Now we do need to talk about Partey and Declan Rice. Now, as much as I rate Partey, he just doesn't have the legs, it seems, to play a full 90 minutes where Arsenal are trying to defend and go out on the counter and help Arsenal and track back at times. But he is still the only player at Arsenal who can put in the pass that is required, put in the through ball for the attacker to run. Declan Rice, he is a very good player. I really rate him. But when it comes to running with the ball, trying to provide that killer pass that Partey can do at times, Declan Rice doesn't have that in his pocket. He can intercept the ball, he can be a very good defensive midfielder, but when it comes to being a box and box to box midfielder, trying to play on the left side at 8 position that Mikel Arteta wants him to advance to, it just doesn't click for him. He is not able to provide the through balls or passes in tight situations. He mostly gives passes sideways or he gives the ball back. So that is something that is not helping Arsenal as well. The only set of players who are playing well for Arsenal as of now are the goalkeeper and the defensive line for Arsenal. Timber and Ben White, even though I think they had a bit rough game at times, there were a lot of passes that were misplaced. Gabriel Magalhaes, William Saliba and David Raya, they were exceptional for Arsenal. With the penalty that was gone against the foul that Partey committed, it was David Raya to the rescue, where he made a brilliant double save to keep Arsenal in the game, and that save made Arsenal come back with a point from Atalanta. Now David Raya has already been 3 times player of the match for Arsenal this season, and this is, as much as I like it and the fans would like it as well, this is an alarming stat where your best player on the field is your keeper. That means something is going wrong either with your attack, your midfield and defense, where your keeper has to become the best player in more of the matches that you play. So even though I rate him highly and I'm really happy that Arsenal got David Raya on a permanent signing, but we need to start making sure that somebody else starts getting the man of the match or player of the match awards. Now let's look at what Mikel Arteta had to say in his post-match conference. He said, if you can't win, you have to take a point. We started well, then we lost control and we were very inconsistent. The game was open, but we still didn't suffer defensively. And apart from the penalty, David Raya made one of the best saves in my life. Which is true to a point, but still, I don't think we lost control. We were never able to take control to begin with. I don't think in any part of the game, Arsenal looked to be in control. Ederson was the player of the match, and he said that they are a great side, they are playing to win the title. I'm happy about our team. I started off defending, then had more confidence and went forward. He was a live wire in the game, Ederson, I have to say that. Then Gasperini said that we had a great defense and played with personality. Arsenal are a great side, difficult to beat. We did what we had to do in this game. He goes on to say, we had a chance to go 1-0 up with the penalty and the rebound. It's a pity because Retegui had a great game. And they should have been 1-0 up, if I'm being honest. It was David Raya's brilliant double save that kept us in the game. It was asked from Raya what he was doing on talking to our Arsenal goalkeeping coach, and he said it was a long time to decide if it was a penalty. So I took the decision to go to this side and I went to speak with the goalie coach about where to go, where not to go. He helped me a lot in every aspect, so credit to him as well. And I think credit does go to him as well, because it was a brilliant save. If he were not dived in the right side, then the goal would have been gone for sure. It was his dive on the correct side and then backed by a brilliant double save from him. When David Raya was asked on the game, he said, we knew it was a tough place to come. They are a magnificent team who made it difficult for us, but we made it difficult for them as well. They didn't create that many chances. It's a point away from home. We could have played a little bit better, but I thought we managed the game well. And even though I think it's a good away point, but still Arsenal didn't play the game well, and they should have done a far more better when it came to, at least for the outfield players, I have to say. Now Arsenal did make some substitutions. They brought in Jorginho, Leandro Trossard, Calafiori and Sterling. Even though I thought this was a better game for Jorginho so that he can play those intricate passes that he has in his locker. Trossard was decent. He was brought in to replace Gabriel Jesus. So Kai Havertz went on top and Gabriel Jesus was playing as a number 8. He was not that influential, but it's okay. So still, I think he had a half decent game. Ricardo Qualiferi, I think he was pretty impressive for me. He had some runs where he took the ball and drove in the final third of the Atalanta's team, and that was really good to see. And maybe we need to start having conversations where maybe we can bench Ben White for a couple of games, bring Timber to right back and put Calafiori on the left back position. I think he was really good, one of the best substitutions that I saw. Raheem Sterling, he was still again half decent. He didn't have a very pretty game, but he did make one of the best chances that went to Martinelli, but he just scuffed the shot. So I don't want to speak more about that. I'm really not happy with how Martinelli is playing. I really want him to do better and perform at a better rate. It has been like a high number of games that he has not performed. Now it comes to the rating. We all know who will get the rating. So it's David Raya for the double penalty, so for the double save during the penalty, and William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes apart from him. All the other outfield players, I think Declan Rice also didn't have a very good game, but still he has a SofaScore rating of 7.1, which is interesting. But for me, like as I look into the game, I didn't feel that he was any influential during the game. So I think William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes and David Raya, these three players were outstanding and they helped Arsenal coming back with a point from Atalanta. In terms of the overall statistics, Arsenal had a very bad XG of 7.8 or 0.78. Big chances for both the teams. There were 2. Arsenal had a total of 6 shots, and there was one interesting fact that I got to know, that in the second half Arsenal didn't have a shot on target. So in the whole of the second half, with all the substitutions done, still Arsenal didn't even manage to land one single shot on target, which was interesting. Now in terms of goalkeeper saves, Raya made 2 corner kicks, 4-2. Fouls, Arsenal made more of the fouls. In terms of passes, it was pretty even, 496 to 433. In terms of tackle, it was 14 to 10. In terms of free kick, 10 to 7. So overall, even though this looks like a pretty even, but it was Atalanta who were dominating the game, who had the better chances and who were able to control the game in majority of the durations. They looked threatening at the counter with Cuadrado and Lookman, where Arsenal, even though they had Bukayo Saka and Martinelli, we didn't look threatening at all. And even though we had 2 chances, we just couldn't take, or we couldn't even shoot at the keeper, to be honest. So I'm not sure how does this satisfy the Arsenal in-game stats. So that is the video then and there, people. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you really think we can bring in Anveri to play as the number 8 instead of putting back Kai Havertz or putting in Trossard in that position? Because we know Merino will be at least out till October, with Martin Odegaard potentially could return in November. So who do you think should come in that position to fill in the gap for Arsenal? And do you think we should start playing Calafiori as left back and push Timber to right back to see if it helps Arsenal progress the ball in a better way? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good day.